Hey folks, welcome back to another Massive video, and good day, I guess, or where, night, morning, wherever you're at. I mean, it's, 6 p.m. my time, right? So it's around, I'd say, 12 hours since I last posted. Well, I did post a Dokkan Battle video in between, but last posted the last Masters video from the, data download stuff, right? And obviously went to bed, woke up, and I thought I'd just, sort of just go over my thoughts on these a bit more, right? Not that you have to care for what I have to say, right? You don't need to know my thoughts. But, for those curious, I just guess I'll just talk about it a bit. So, I see a lot of people disappointed with these anniversary units, right? And not gonna lie, I'm slightly disappointed too, right? Don't get me wrong, the outfits look fantastic. They look amazing. Absolutely amazing, right? Lillie, Lunala, being paired with Lunala is fantastic. I really, really love that. One of my favorite scenes in Sun and Moon, right? Or at least I played Moon, so it's Lunala in my version. And then, I love Steven. Steven's my second favorite champion, right? And then Rayquaza is my second favorite legendary Pokemon. I love these two. Fantastic pairing. Shiny, Mega. Cool. Very, very cool. What I am slightly disappointed by is by their kits. And here's the first thing that I do have to say. The big, the obvious question is, are these units bad? Are they like bad units? The answer is no. As we're looking at Psyduck. Okay, Psyduck maybe not that great, but like the anniversary units. Lillie, Reshiram, Rayquaza. Are these bad units? No, they're not. They're all really good units. Here's the issue, though, right? And a lot of people have been saying this. They're good, but they're supposed to be the anniversary units. They're supposed to be, the next big thing, and instead of being the next big thing, they just seem like a unit from 6 months ago that maybe they'd release, which would be very, very nice if this was a unit from if these units were from 6 months ago, right? These would be very, very, very good units, right? Incredibly, top tier units. However, 6 months later, at where we're at, right? They are still good, but they're just not that next level that folks were hoping it to be, because again, it is the anniversary, because every single time the anniversary has given us something big. The 0.5 anniversary, Red, absolutely, bonkers at the time, right? At the time, Red was just you guys don't need me to tell you how good Red was back during the 0.5 anniversary, right? Then we had the first year anniversary, Singsu Blue and Singsu Leaf. Although Singsu Blue was also slightly underwhelming when he first released. I don't think he was bad, but he wasn't, crazy at the time, in which they then went back to and buffed him. They extended his banner duration, buffed him. And then with Singsu Leaf, obviously was very, very good at the time with the meta, right? And then we fast forward to 1.5 year anniversary. Not only do we get Leon, the first Master Fair, one of the highest damaging units in the game, right, with Inferno, again, introduce us to this Master Passive, right? And then we also got like Marnie, who's also a top tier striker in the game. And then Champion Iris, both Antha are all really, really good units. Like, every time we've had an anniversary, there's been like a next level sort of improvement in terms of the units. Does it have to happen every time? I'm not saying it has to happen every time, right? Or else like every 6 months the bar gets raised like way too much. But these units are just not there, right? Like, if you, like, it would have been fine. Again, it would have been fine if these guys were released 6 months ago, but 6 months later, what did we get? We got Groudon, Kyogre, which are just miles ahead of all these units, right? We got Emmett, who's arguably as good as some of these, right? We got Summer Marnie, who's fantastic. We literally just got Lear, who's a Pokefair, who's only a Pokefair. Lear's only a Pokefair. Not even part of the run up to the second anniversary, but was in that time frame in the run up. And Lear's just better than all three, right? It's just a very, very weird timing for these units to be here, right? In terms of the kits, in terms of how their designs, all that stuff, this makes total sense. They look great. I can't wait to get them, right? Fantastic, right? But their kits just seem like underwhelming, and there's issues with all of them, and we could talk about them, right? Even, Reshiram, who's probably the best, right? Who's probably the best out of these three. Like, it's not like he's without, first of all, the team comp is a bit of an issue with this guy, right? Energy on his grid is a bit of an issue, right? And then, the big one is this guy's fire type, right? Again, not saying he's bad. He's very, very good. I think he's a fantastic unit, right? I think he almost hits the mark, right? For what we should probably, if not hits it, right? If you would ask me if any of these actually hit the mark for being an anniversary unit, I'd say probably N, right? But again, not without faults either, right? Most likely scenario, this is not going to be AoE, right? Most likely this will not be AoE. If it is, then that's fantastic, but most likely this won't be. But very, very, very good sync nuker, right? I like his kit is very, very, very nice, right? You have like the extend range where you hit all opponents with your blue flare, which blue flare, it doesn't do crazy amounts of damage, right? But you hit all three opponents, which is nice, and you don't get the AoE debuff, right, from your moves, which is great. You're hitting 100% on all of them. Obviously, once you take out the sides and there's only the mid, then his overall damage just drastically decreases, right? But you also still have a really, really powerful sync nuke to hit the mid with. So like, I think he's an overall pretty well designed unit, right? Again, he still has those issues, right? He's another fire type. We have a lot of very, very powerful fire types, obviously. Red, Leon, Serena, Ho-Oh, etc., right? But he's a good unit, I'd say, overall, right? If you look at the other two, we first talk about Lunala, right? Lunala seems fine overall, but a lot of people were, trolling Steven for having not that great damage, which is, for his caliber of a unit. Guess who has less? Lunala does less than Steven, right? Lunala just overall does the less of all three of these, right? Although, again, I'm not saying these units are bad. These units are good units, and there are upsides. For example, Lunala, one of the upsides is, even though her overall damage is not very high, right? It's still like 600k, but which is, again, that's not even like Zekrom range or Dragonite range. That's like way below that, but it's still like 600k or whatever. But in terms of some positives, first of all, she's very, very easy to use. Pretty super simple, right? You could just pick up the day or pick up the game on the day, and then you generally would know how to use her, which is nice, right? But her damage cap is pretty low. She just doesn't do that much damage. But what I really do like about her is she's not going to be that great if you're fighting anything outside of Ghost Week, right? But if you are fighting Ghost, or I guess like Fairy, I guess. But if you are fighting Ghost Week, you do have the super preparation, 50% chance of super effective up. On that rate, every other move being a super effective up move would be very powerful, right? Makes up for her relatively overall low damage on Moongeist Beam, right? You just have to hope this procs a lot. Yeah, in terms of like other stuff, her sync isn't that powerful, but if you can't get the super effective up, again, it has to be super effective, right? It's pretty solid, right? It's pretty solid. But yeah, I mean, Lunala isn't anything crazy either, right? Like, again, it's just like the recent units has set the bar too high, right? Groudon Kyogre's just much better. Lear's much better, right? Like, she's fine. Like, she's like even Leon, right? Leon's just better. But again, like, these units are fine. They're fine, but they're just not what people are expecting the anniversary units should be, right? Like, in comparison to like Groudon Kyogre, she just seemed like a regular Pokefair, right? Probably one of the better Pokefairs, I'd say. I say she's definitely better than Singsu Cynthia or Gloria or whatever, right? But is she that much better than, is she that much better than Alder? Is she even as good as Marnie? She's obviously not as good as Lear, but it just seems like these Master Fair units, these anniversary units, just are good. They're good. She's the best Ghost type striker, but they're just not. It seems like they're slightly underwhelming for anniversary Master Fair units that they've been hyping up, this whole time, right? And then let's talk about Steven. And here's the issue with Steven, right? So, and there's one other thing that really irks me, like these notes, and there's a lot of them. Like I think Lillie has one. I think all three of them have one, and it's not just them. There's past units that have these as well, right? Lillie has, or Reshiram has, super duper effective 1, and then Lunala has healthy power up 1. So these are really, really awkward because like these are like 9-10 energy cost nodes for only a 10% increase in your like damage, and you have like some condition that you have to fulfill or maintain for it to like be worth it. So like if you look at Rayquaza's kit, it seems like it's built on making sure that the weather is clear, right? However, even if the weather is clear, what are you benefiting from that? You're 10% extra damage. 10% extra damage for like this whole weather clear thing. And then, to get weather clear, if you are fighting opponents that do set weather, you have to weather wipe, which costs you that's a lot of energy just to get these. And it's just like a 10% power buff. If you're saying, well, look at the sync up. Well, there's clear sync up 9, clear sync up 5. His sync does not do that much damage. Even though it's 9 plus 5 over here. First of all, it's not that much more than a Haymaker or inertia multiplier, which is almost 40% more, right? Than those, which is still some. But like his overall, the fact that he is a Mega, right? Megas just have low power on their sync moves, and then the fact that again this attack is just not good, right? This guy just does not do that much sync move damage, right? If you're doing, I know everyone saw the meme, I posted this meme, but like this guy's sync move damage off type does less than Nate's sync move damage, right? On type you do get the benefit of getting the super effective up with your train move, which could actually do some, pretty decent damage, right? But like off type, like this is like, this is not anything crazy. This is just not anything crazy. All right, there's just much more powerful sync nukers, and you're saying, well, what if he's just not a sync nuker? Well, first of all, that's a very funny way of putting so many big sync nodes over here. But okay, let's ignore sync, but let's talk about Dragon Ascent, right? Dragon Ascent can be powerful, but that's the issue. It can be. It's not always powerful. It's very hard to make powerful. Most of the time, it's very, very mediocre. Like, most of the time, the damage is not very great, right? I mean, sure, you could get it to hit harder than Lillie's Moongeist beam, but again, that's not a very, very high bar. But, like, for example, like, here's the really, really annoying part is if you want his move to get like anywhere near like these recent units that we've been getting, like that level of damage, you need Groudon. Right? Without that the Groudon buff, his damage is just not, he's below a lot of average just Pokefair levels of damage. Right? Without Groudon, it's hard to make him hit harder than like Cynthia's Earthquake on a single target, right? You could do that because again, his passive does have a pretty big multiplier with where it's good form, right? So every time you get a stat raise, it powers up your moves, which does give you a decent amount of power-ups. But to max this out, you need 42 or 45 buffs. I'm saying 42 or 45 because we don't know if it counts crit or not. I'm assuming it's going to count crit because, first of all, if it doesn't count crit, that's very bad. Second of all, I mean, why would it not count crit? Like a lot of the other stuff like Rising Tide, they count crit. So This should probably be like the opposite of power loving, except that it has crit. Obviously, power loving doesn't have crit because you can't debuff the opponent's crit stat to like negative, right? But you know, assuming you get this, like it's still gonna like you need what +6 attack. You generally want to get +6 attack, +6 special attack, probably +6 speed. That's what 18 stats, and you have try to get +3 crit. That's 21 stats, and then every time you use Dragon Ascent, it's +2 stats, right? So if you want to max that out, that's 6 turns of Dragon Ascent to max out both your defenses. And then if you want to try to max out accuracy and evasion, that's very, very, very hard. There just aren't that many accuracy evasion buffers in the game, right? Let alone accuracy evasion buffers that can max out your stats, right? So you're just like, for example, if you max out like your attack, special attack, and crit and speed, assuming crit counts, right? And you get like a few hits off of your Dragon Ascent, you're getting right almost 800k, which is good. But again, that's with Groudon buffing. Without Groudon buffing, you're just not getting that much damage. And it just seems like if you want him to do respectable damage, right, like Pokefair, like fair level damage, you need Groudon. And it just seems like, why do I need, like, this is the anniversary unit, why do I need another incredibly powerful unit to make him like usable? Or like, if it's okay, another, obviously you could use him even without Groudon. Like, yeah, I mean, Steven Rayquaza is probably the strongest, not probably, he's the strongest flying type striker, but there's just so many conditions for him, so, you know, hard to set up. He can dish out some good damage, but the restrictions are just crazy, right? You need Groudon in to buff, you need to max out like at least 30 of these stats for like good form, just so you could get close to something like Emmett's damage. And Emmett could do that damage with barely any setup. All he needs is just like Sandstorm, right, mostly. And then again, his setup is very, very easy for himself. And this guy just has to go all that stuff. You need, again, like, okay, you could get 800k damage with Groudon helping, right? And getting, you know, again, a decent amount of these buffs, right? For example, let's say you max out crit attack, special attack, and speed, and then you get like +4 on your defense or whatever, right? And you're almost at 800k. Well, if you run just Groudon with like Lopunny, right? Or Groudon with any other of these like Hoenn strikers, run Groudon Lopunny, Groudon Brennan, like Groudon Lopunny is like 1,000,000 damage. And Rayquaza is here struggling to hit 800k. And Lopunny, you know, obviously does all the other stuff, team buff, speed, potions, this and that. Obviously, Rayquaza is a much, much better sync move. But, yeah, it just seems, yeah, these units are not good. Or not good, not bad. They're not bad. They are good units. They just don't seem anniversary level, right? Is basically what I'm trying to get, right? Rayquaza is probably the strongest flying type in the game. Lunala is probably the strongest ghost type in the game. I don't know if N's going to be the strongest fire type in the game because there's a lot of competition for fire types. But he's definitely up there, right? And he's probably, you know, overall his unit better than these two. But wouldn't you expect something a bit better? Like, between the 0.5 anniversary or not 0.5, the 1.5 anniversary and like this anniversary, they've released how many units that are just better than these guys? Right? And again, we literally just had a unit last month, Lear, who is just, you know, it's not like they can't give us that level of powerful units. We literally just got Lear. And he's just, you know, he's that powerful. And these guys, again, even though they are good, they're just not exactly that, right? So, I don't know. I just wanted to get some, you know, my other thoughts in there. She's still summon on these guys? Yeah, probably. They're good. They're good units. They're powerful units, right? But I guess people were just hoping for more. People were just hoping for a bit more, I guess. So anyways, that's maybe this one, I guess. I hope you all enjoyed it. Or if you didn't, I mean, it's not a very enjoyable video, honestly. I'm just trying to clear out some of my thoughts on these, and honestly, I don't even know if I did a good job of that. So anyways, have fun, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Lillie's coming out in 2 resets, so that's fun. All right, can't wait to actually use her. Can't wait so I could actually use a competent ghost type striker. So have fun, folks, and I'll see you guys in the next one.